Namaste. Tonight I'm going to read Book 9, Chapter 20, on the war preparations of Shankachuda with the Devas in the Maha Devi Bhagavatam. Vakratu Namakaya Koti Surya Samapanida. Hari Om Tat Sat. Narayana said, Brahma, then putting Shiva to the task of killing Shankachuda, went to his own abode. The other devas returned to their homes. Here under the beautiful Bata tree, on the banks of the river Chandrabhaga, Mahadeva pitched his big tent and encamped himself to get the victory of the devas. He then sent Chitraratha, the lord of the Gandharvas, as a messenger to Shankachuda. The lord of the Danavas, by the command of Mahadeva, Chitraratha went to the city of the king of Dechas, more beautiful than Indra's place and more wealthy than the mansion of Kuvera. The city was 5 yojanas wide and twice as much in length. It was built of crystals, of pearls and jewels. There were roadways on all sides. There were 7 trenches, hard to be crossed, one after another, encircling the city. The city was built of countless rubies and gems, brilliant like flames. There were hundreds of roadways and markets and stalls in the wonderful vidhis, raised platforms built of jewels. All around were splendid palatial buildings of traders and merchant men, filled with various articles. They were hundreds of kotis of beautiful buildings adorned with various ornaments and built of variegated red stones looking like sinduras. Thus he went on and saw in the middle of the building of Shankachuda, circular like the lunar sphere, 4 ditches all filled with fairy flames encircled one after another. His house encircled one after another his house. So the enemies could not in any way cross them, but the friend could easily go there. On the top were seen turrets built of jewels, rising high to the heavens. The gatekeepers were watching the 12 gates. In the center were situated lakhs and lakhs of excellent jewel-built houses. In every room there were jeweled steps and staircases, and the pillars were all built of gems and jewels and pearls. Puspadanta Chitraratha saw all this and then went to the first gate and saw one terrible person, copper-colored, with tawny eyes, sitting with a trident in his hand and with a smiling countenance. He told he had come as a messenger and got his entrance. Thus, Chitraratha went one after another to the entries, not being prohibited at all, though he told that he had come as a messenger on war service. The Gandharva reached one after another the last door and said, O doorkeeper, go quickly and inform the Lord of the Danavas all about the impending war. When the messenger had spoken thus, the gatekeeper allowed him to go inside. Going inside, the Gandharva saw Shankachuda of excellent form, seated in the middle of the royal assembly on a golden throne. One servant was holding on the king's head an umbrella decked with divine excellent gems, the inner rod of the umbrella being made up of jewels and decorated with expanded artificial flowers made of gems. The attendants were fanning him with beautiful white chamaras. He was nicely dressed, beautiful and lovely, and adorned with jewel ornaments. He was nicely garlanded and wore fine celestial garments. 3 Koti Danavas were surrounding him, and 7 Koti Danavas, all armed, were walking to and fro. Puspadanta was thunderstruck when he saw thus the Danava, and he addressed him thus: O king, I am a servant of Shiva. My name is Puspadanta. Hear what Shiva has commanded me to tell you. You better now give back to the Devas the rights that they had before. The Devas went to Srihari and had taken his refuge. Srihari gave over to Shiva 1 Sula weapon and asked the Devas to depart. At present, the 3-eyed Deva is residing under the shade of a butter tree on the banks of the Puspabhadra river. He told me to speak this to you. Either give over to the Devas their rights or fight with me. Please reply and I will speak to him accordingly. Shankachuta, hearing the messenger's words, laughed and said, Tomorrow morning I will start ready for war. Better go away today. The messenger went back to Shiva and replied to him accordingly. In the meantime, the following personages joined Shiva and remained seated on excellent aerial cars, built of jewels and gems. The following were the persons: Skanda, Virabhadra, Nandi, Mahakala, Subhadraka, Visalaksa, Bana, Pingalaksa, Vikampana, Virupa, Vikriti, Manibhadra, Vaskala, Kapilaksa, Driga, Dangstra, Vikata, Tamralochana, Kalakanta, Balibhadra, Kalajibha, Kotichara, Balonmata, Ranas Lagi, Durjaya, Durgama, these eight Bhairavas, 11 Rudras, 8 Vasus, Indra, the 12 Adityas, fire, moon, Visvakarma, the 2 Ashvins, Kuvera, Yama, Jayanta, Nalakubara, Vayu, Varuna, Buddha, Mangala, Dharma, Shani, Ishana, the powerful Kamadeva, Ugra Damstra, Ugra Chandra, Kotara, Ketavi, and the 8-armed terrible Devi, Bhadrakali. Kali wore the bloody red clothings, and she smeared red sandal paste all over her body. Dancing, laughing, singing songs in tune, very jolly, she bids her devotees discard all fear and terrifies the enemies. Her lip is terrible, lolling, and extends to 1 yojana. On her 8 arms she holds conch, disk, mace, lotus, axe, skin, bow and arrows. She was holding in her hands the bowl-shaped human skull that was very deep and 1 yojana wide. Her trident reached up to the heavens. Her weapon, called Shakti, dart, extended to 1 yojana. Besides, there were Mudgara, mace, Musala, club, Vajra, thunderbolt, Kita, club, brilliant, Palaka, shield, the Vaishnava weapon, the Varuna weapon, the Agni Yastra, the fire weapon, Nagapasa, the noose of serpents, the Narayana Astra, the Gandharva's weapons, the Brahma's weapons, the Gudud Astatram, the Parjanayastram, the Pasupatastram, the Jimbanastram, the Parvatastram, the Maheshwarastram, the Vayavyastram, and the Sun Mohanam rod, and various other infallible divine weapons. Besides, hundreds of other divine weapons were with her. 3 kotis of yoginis and 3 kotis and a half of terrible darkinis were attending Bhadrakali, Bhutas, demons, pretas, bisachas, kusmandas, Brahma, Rakshasas, Vitalas, Yakshas, and Kinnaras also were there in countless numbers. At this time, Kartikeya came there and bowed down to his father Mahadeva. He asked him to take his seat on his left side and asked him to help. Then the army remained there in military array. On the other hand, when Shiva's messenger departed, Shankachuda went to the Zinana and informed Tulasi of the news of an impending war. No sooner she heard than her throat and lips were pallid, become dried. She then, with a sorrowful heart, spoke in sweet words, O my Lord, O my friend, O the ruler of my life, wait for a moment and take your seat on my heart. Instill life in me for a moment. Satisfy my desire of human birth. Let me behold you fully, so that my eyes be satisfied. My breath is now very agitated. I saw by the end of the night one bad dream. Therefore I feel an internal burning. Thus, at the words of Tulasi, the king Shankachuda finished his meals and began to address her in good and true words, beneficent to her. O my lady, it is Kala, the time that brings out these various combinations by which the karmic fruit is enjoyed. It is Kala that awards auspicious and inauspicious things. The Kala is the sole master to impart pain, fear, and good and bad things. Trees grow up in time, their branches, etc., come out in time. Flowers appear in time, and fruits come out in time. Fruits are ripened in time, and after giving the fruits, they die out also in time. O fair one, the universe comes into existence in time and dies away in time. The creator, preserver, and destroyer of the universe are creating, preserving, and destroying the worlds with the help of time. Time guides them in every way. But the highest Prakriti is the God of Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesha, i.e. the creatrix of time. This highest Prakriti, the highest God, is creating, preserving, and destroying this universe. She makes the time dance by her mere will. She has converted her inseparable Prakriti into Maya and is thus creating all things, moving and unmoving. She is the ruler of all, the form of all, and she is the highest God. By her is being done this creation of persons by persons, this preservation of persons by persons, and this destruction of persons by persons. So you better now take refuge of the highest Lord. Know it is. By her command the wind is blowing. By her command the sun is giving heat in due time. By her command Indra is showering rains. By her command death is striding over the beings. By her command fire is burning all things. And by her command the cooling moon is revolving. She is the death of death, the time of time. Yama of Yama, the god of death, the fire of fire, and the destroyer of the destroyer. So take her refuge. You cannot find and fix who is whose friend in the world. So pray to her, the highest God, who is the friend of all. Oh, who am I? And who are you either? The Creator is the combiner of us two, and so he will dislocate us too by our karma when difficulty arises. The ignorant fools become overwhelmed with sorrow, but the intelligent pundits do not get at all deluded or become distressed by the wheel of time. The beings are led sometimes into happiness, sometimes into pain. You will certainly get Narayana for your husband, for which you practice tapas before in the hermitage of Vadari, the source of the Ganges, the feet of Vishnu. I pleased Brahma by my tapasya and have, by his boon, got you as my wife. but the object for which you did your tapasya, that you may get Hari as your husband, will certainly be fulfilled. You will get Govinda in Vrindavan and in the region of Goloka. I will also go there when I forsake this, my demon body. Now I am taking with you here afterwards. We will meet again in the region of Goloka by the curse of Radhika. I have come to this Bharata hard to be attained. You too will quit this body and assuming the divine form will go to Sri Hari. So, O beloved, you need not be sorry. O Muni, thus these conversations took them the whole day and led them to the evening time. The king of the demons, Shankachuda, then slept with Tulasi on a nicely decorated bed, strewn with flowers and smeared with sandal paste, in the Ratna Mandir, temple built of jewels. This jewel temple was adorned with various wealth and riches. The jewel lamps were lighted. Shankachuda passed the night with his wife in various sports. The thin-bellied Tulasi was weeping with a very sorrowful heart without having taken any food. The king, who knew the reality of existence, took her to his breast and appeased her in various ways. What religious instructions he had received in Bandira forest from Shri Krishna, those tattvas capable to destroy all sorrows and delusions. He now spoke carefully to Tulasi. Then Tulasi's joy knew no bounds. She then began to consider everything as transient and began to play with a gladdened heart. Both became drowned in the ocean of bliss, and the bodies of both of them were filled with joy, and the hairs stood on their ends. Both of them, then desirous to have amorous sports, joined themselves and became like Ardhana Ishvara, and so on, and so one body. As Tulasi considered Shankachuda to be her lord, so the Danava king considered Tulasi the darling of his life. They became senseless with pleasurable feelings arising out of their amorous intercourses. Next moment, they regained their tenaciousness and both began to converse on amorous matters. Thus, both spent their time sometimes in sweet conversations, sometimes laughing and joking, sometimes maddened with amorous sentiments. As Shankachuda was clever in amorous affairs, so Tulasi was very expert. So none felt satiated with love affairs, and no one was defeated by the other. Here ends the 12th chapter on the 9th book on the war preparations of Shankachuda with the Devas in the Mahapuranam, Srimad Devi Bhagavatam, of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Vedvyasa. Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Patra Kali Kapali. Hari Om. Tuya Mata Chapita Tuya Tuya Bandasha Sakata.